The love-hate reality of Thailand. I've lived in Thailand for more than 30 years and I've learned something that isn't easy to admit. I love this country, really I do, but half the time I can't really stand it. And that's not a contradiction. That is reality. Thailand has a way of charming you and infuriating you at the same time. In the same breath, it does that. It's like living with a beautiful woman who's kind and warm and funny, but she refuses to grow up. She refuses to take responsibility. And then she wonders why her life never improves. That is Thailand, beautiful, generous, and free, but hopelessly immature when it comes to anything resembling accountability, logic, or long-term thinking. You can live here well, you can live here cheaply, you can live here quietly, you can sit on your balcony with a coffee and feel the warmth of the morning sun and think to yourself, this is paradise. And it is until something breaks, until you need a government office to do something that should take 10 minutes, but it takes 10 visits. Unless you're on the road and someone cuts across 4 lanes without a signal just to turn left. Until a man dumps his garbage right next to the bin and smiles about it. And then you remember paradise comes with a price. The Thai people are, for the most part, warm and polite. They smile. They help you when you need it. They're very, very generous in small ways that people in the West have forgotten. They're good at living, really living in the moment. But that's part of the problem, isn't it? Living in the moment becomes a national religion here, and no one thinks ahead. If you ask why a problem keeps happening, you'll get a shrug and a mipe and rye. It means never mind or it's okay, but what it really means is don't bother me with it. It's not a statement, it's an escape hatch. It's how the culture sidesteps responsibility. And when it's not mipe and rye, it's ya kit ma. Don't think too much. That one says even more because thinking too much here is seen as a flaw. If you question things, if you analyze, if you ask why, people look at you like you're trying to ruin the mood. Don't think too much, they say, and that's the problem. Nobody does. It's not that Thais are stupid. Far from it. Some are bright, creative, quick-witted, but critical thinking, planning, and accountability are not valued. Harmony is. Obedience is. Smiling through incompetence is. And even when there's clearly a problem staring everyone in the face, it's as if the culture decided that avoiding discomfort is more important than solving anything. You see it in the streets, you see it in the schools, you see it in the government, construction, healthcare, the environment. You see it everywhere. The country looks fine on the surface. Shiny new malls, flashy condos, luxury cars, endless 7-Elevens. But scratch beneath the surface and it's a disaster of neglect. Trash on beaches, wires hanging in clumps overhead. Half-built projects abandoned after the ribbon cutting ceremony. Flooding that happens every rainy season like clockwork, yet no one seems to know how to fix it or even care. Every few years, a politician announces a master plan to make Thailand a high-income nation. Then he disappears. The plan disappears, and life goes on. Might been right. What's remarkable is how tolerant Thais are of failure, not in a constructive way, but a lazy one. In the West, if someone screws up a project, they're expected to answer for it. Here, the response is more like, well, that's how it goes. Rarely does one get fired. Rarely does one resign. And rarely does one learn. The idea of admitting fault, even privately, is almost unheard of. Saving face is everything. So instead of facing problems, they're painted over with another layer of denial and politeness. Now, if you've lived here long enough, you stop expecting progress and you adjust. You learn to fix your own problems, hire your own handyman, double check every official document, and assume every project will take twice as long and cost twice as much. That's how you survive in Thailand, by lowering your expectations and laughing at the absurdity of it all. Because if you don't laugh, you'll go insane. Still, I can't help but admire what Thailand does right. Life here feels freer than almost anywhere in the developed world. You can walk down the street with a beer in your hand. You can eat at midnight. You can live cheaply without being strangled by taxes, rules, and bureaucracy. You can be left alone, and in today's world, that's rare. No one cares what you are or what you're doing as long as you're not hurting anybody, and that is true freedom. And maybe that's why so many foreigners end up here, not because Thailand's perfect, it's far from it, but because it doesn't constantly get in your way. But freedom without discipline can be dangerous, and that's what Thailand teaches you over time. It's a country where you can live any way you want, but it's also a country that will never tell you when you've gone too far. You can drink too much, waste your days, ignore your future, and no one will say a word. You'll just wake up one day and realize you've drifted into nothing. That's Thailand's curse and its gift. It lets you be exactly who you are, for better or worse. There's something seductive about the pace of life here. It's easy to relax, too easy. A sense of urgency doesn't exist. Deadlines are suggestions, appointments are vague. On the way can mean I'm still at home. People call it sabay sabay, easygoing and comfortable. And yes, that's charming until you need something done. Westerners often arrive thinking they found paradise, a place without stress, without confrontation, without politics. Then they realize it's not peace, it's apathy dressed up as peace. Thailand's education system is a good example. Students are taught to memorize, not to think. They're trained to repeat, not to question. And the result is a society full of pleasant, agreeable people who've been conditioned to never challenge authority. That's why the system rarely improves, because it was built to discourage change. It produces obedient citizens, not innovators. So when a Thai child grows up and joins the workplace, what do? They follow orders, even when the orders make no sense. And when it fails, they say mipe and rye. It's a feedback loop of stagnation. And the government loves it this way. They don't want a nation full of critical thinkers. They want docile taxpayers who smile and vote the same way their parents did. So long as the streets are calm, the malls are busy, and the people are distracted, everything's fine. That's Thailand's unspoken rule. Appearance over substance. There's no real debate. There's no real opposition, just a carefully managed illusion of stability. It's all based on the same foundation. Don't think too much, don't question, and never take responsibility. Even religion here reinforces it. Buddhism, at its core, is about mindfulness and detachment. But in Thailand, it's been twisted into a form of cultural sedation. Be calm. Don't be so angry. Don't make waves. It's not spirituality anymore. It's social control disguised as serenity. Monks drive luxury cars. Politicians build temples to launder money, and people drop a coin in a bowl thinking they've bought themselves good karma for the day. Meanwhile, corruption, pollution, and ignorance keeps grinding on. But here's the paradox. I still love it, because for all its flaws, Thailand has something the West has lost: a sense of community, of family, of humanity. If you get sick, someone helps you. If you fall, people rush over. If you sit down for coffee, strangers will smile at you. It's a country that still values human connection over convenience, and that counts for a lot. In America, people argue about everything. Here, people don't argue about anything. Both extremes are broken. In Thailand, the pendulum just swung too far the other way, so far that thinking itself became a nuisance. Ya kit mak. Don't think too much. And that simple phrase explains half the country's problems. Because if you never think too much, you never plan. If you never plan, you never change. And if you never change, you never grow. That's why Thailand is stuck perpetually charming, perpetually behind. But pride without progress is just stubbornness. They confuse keeping our ways with never improving. So the same mistakes keep repeating. Politicians promising reform, police pocketing bribes, roads breaking down, schools failing to teach, and nobody stepping up to say enough. It's always somebody else's fault, always the system, the weather, the foreigners, never the man in the mirror. Yet for all the frustration that I have, I can't leave. Because in between the nonsense, Thailand still gives me something real. A simple, quiet life that's hard to find anywhere on the planet. When I walk down the streets of Bangkok, I still feel alive. The smells, the colors, the sounds, they hit you like nowhere else. And that's chaos, but also warmth. Thailand lets you be. It lets you make your own mistakes. It doesn't smother you with rules or guilt. And maybe that's what keeps me here. The belief that for all its flaws, the country still has potential. It just refuses to grow into it, or it grows very, very slowly. So I live with the contradiction. I love Thailand for what it is, and I hate it for what it refuses to become. It's a nation of incredible people who've been trained to aim low. A land of beauty run by people who can't see beyond the next payday. A place that would and could be one of the greatest in the world if it would only start thinking. Maybe one day the phrase "Ya kit mak" will fade away and the young Thais will realize that thinking too much isn't the problem. Not thinking enough is. Until then, I'll be right here, sipping my coffee, watching the contradictions play out, loving Thailand and shaking my head at it, just like always.